Black Myth Wukong is not only a beautiful, visually stunning adventure, but it's an adventure that I would highly suggest going on. However, are there issues in this adventure that would lead you astray? Well, find out now. Hello everyone, Chris here with Platinum Reviews. We're doing the review for Black Myth Wukong. This game was a tremendous game. It is a Souls-like game, but it's the first Souls-like game that I've ever beaten. So, kudos to me right there. So it's definitely hard. There is a lot of hard things in this game, and we're going to discuss all that in the review. But before we jump into that review, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now let's go ahead and start with the story. The story follows Journey to the West, which is Chinese folklore. I've never read or really seen too much on Journey to the West. I've known about it, but it was really cool to see a game embody that, and it was very intriguing. There are a lot of issues I did have with the story, but overall the story was fantastic, and it has one of the best openings I've seen in a video game. Just really grabs you immediately after pressing the start button. So overall, I really enjoyed the story. I won't say too much on it because it's something that you really need to experience for yourself. I will say one thing, and this is minor spoilers after chapter 1, but this is just to get a grasp of what one of my big complaints with the game is. Now, I will say, be sure to just skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump into that minor spoiler. Now, one of my gripes with the game is that it jumps ahead in the story. So at the end of chapter 1, for example, you wake up at chapter 2 with like a bunch of arrows in you, dead. And then this boar guy comes and says, "Oh, don't worry, I won't have you die. And he heals you." And you have no idea what is happening in between for that to happen. And that happens in between every single chapter. Welcome back, by the way, if you happen to fast forward just a moment. Yeah, you don't have anything in between the chapters that makes it to where it's understandable. It just jumps ahead. And I guess it's because it's a different chapter in the journey to the West, whatever. But there are moments where it just does not explain what is happening. You just pop up in this new place. You pop up in the new place with something drastic happening, and you're just like, okay, what did I miss? And I feel like that happened a lot in the story, just moments where you miss stuff, which was kind of disappointing. Now let's go ahead and jump into gameplay. The gameplay is a Souls-like, and the crazy thing with this is I played a lot of Souls games. I've never gotten too far in them, maybe a few hours into them, because they're just so hard, I get mad and I give up. But there was something about this game, and it is incredibly hard, but there was something about this game that just pulled me in, and I did not want to stop playing. I think I was very early on in beating this compared to everybody else. The final trophy right now is only at a 3.8%. So I know I'm pretty far along in comparison to a lot of people playing this game. And it's because I couldn't put it down. I was loving every minute of this gameplay. It's just very fun. It's a Souls game, but the nice thing is it feels like a boss rush. And I saw somebody else post this on Twitter where they made the comparison to it being a boss rush game. And I definitely feel that way. It felt like instead of, going on a long journey and having to, do all this stuff to find a boss, it was like boss. And that just made the game very fun and very entertaining. A thing that sets it apart from Souls-like games, and I think this is one of the biggest kudos that I have, in order to bring people into Souls-like games, it didn't do some of the same things that From Software does. It made it just a little bit easier while still being very difficult. It made it to where if I'm going on a run and I fight the boss and then I die, I revive at the shrine. However, any enemy that I killed along the way, I got XP for. It did not take away any of that XP. So in Bloodborne, for example, if I'm running along and I die, I lose everything. I have to go back to my little soul and pick up everything. And if I happen to die again, I lost all that. In this, it doesn't do that. It rewards you for going out and killing stuff. Even if you get killed along the way, you still retain all your progression. And I think that is just brilliant. And it made it to where I didn't mind playing this. And I feel like if, I was going to one location and then I died and I lost everything, I probably wouldn't have beat this game. So I think that was a great addition. The game is also riddled with secret bosses, secret locations, so many different things that you can do. I didn't even scratch the surface to all the secrets, and I was thoroughly exploring. There's a boss at the end of chapter 2, and I have all the videos on my YouTube, mostly all the videos of bosses. Not a lot of the secret bosses because I missed some, but a lot of the main story bosses, I have videos on them. And there's a boss for chapter 2 where you have to go complete a side quest. You don't have to, because I beat him without getting that special item, but you have to go complete the side quest that gives you an item that will help you in that fight. And that happens again in chapter 4. There's another boss like that where you can go complete another side quest, and it makes it to where the boss is so much easier. And there's just so many different things like that. There's different side quests that if you complete it, it lets you upgrade your brew to make it to where you can heal. There's a side quest that makes it to where you can upgrade your armor and stuff like that. There's just so many secrets in this game. It rewards you for exploring, and it's a game that you want to explore. Now, there's 3 different stances that you can pick. You can pick the smash stance, a pillar stance, or a stabby stance. I can't remember it off the top of my head. There's also different moves you can get with different alterations. You can summon into different entities. You can freeze enemies. You can just use a lot of different spells, which really changes up the game. Also, you aren't set to a specific spell. You can change them out to meet your playstyle, which I thought was really cool. And it was always nice to try and figure out what would help in beating a boss by just swapping out a skill or focusing on one different thing. You can also summon some of the enemies that you beat. If you beat a specific enemy that's blue or glowing blue, you can suck their soul into your gourd, and then you can actually use them in battle. There's just so many little things in this game that it does that I just really enjoyed, and it's the reason why I continued to play this game and eventually beat it. The music in the game is very nice too. Chapter 2, I believe, there's every single time you beat a boss, there's this guy singing, just really pretty. In between every single chapter is beautiful music and just very visually stunning. The graphics in this game is absolutely beautiful. There are some things that, look a little bit meh, like there's a waterfall at the very end of the game that doesn't really look like a waterfall. It looked very pixelated. But overall, this game is freaking gorgeous, and it is highly something that I would suggest you playing if you're into beautifully crafted game worlds. Now, let's get on to glitches, bugs, and overall complaints. Like I said earlier, I do have an issue with the games in between chapters, not explaining stuff and just jumping ahead and just making it to where you're like, okay, I guess that's what happened. I also did have an issue with the game crashing. The game only crashed one time, so it wasn't the end of the world, but it did crash, which was very annoying. It was during a boss that I would have probably beat, so I had to restart the boss. Also, the camera angle, and this happens a lot in games like this, you'll be locked onto a boss fighting him, and then the boss will kind of jump, and it'll make the camera just go all wonky, and it makes it to where I've actually had myself die multiple times because the camera angle just, does not go correct with the boss and just goes off, and, it's just awful. I've had it a few times too where enemies will fall into the ground. They pop right back up, which is always funny. I did have one fall into the ground and then just die. I wasn't going to argue with it, but I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. Other than that, there wasn't anything too crazy, but those were definitely things that stopped this game from being a literal masterpiece. There was a few issues, but other than that, this game is one that I would highly suggest picking up and playing. Black Myth Wukong is available right now for PlayStation 5 and Steam. There is an Xbox version, from what I've seen, that is made. They're just working out some bugs in it. Other than that, it is available right now. I highly suggest you checking it out. I would give Black Myth Wukong, I don't know what I'm saying, a 8.5 out of 10. Currently, this is sitting as one of my Game of the Year nominations. I have to kind of dwell on it because right now Final Fantasy Rebirth is my Game of the Year, but this game was absolutely phenomenal and it deserves to be in the running for Game of the Year. It is just one that I would highly suggest everybody give it a chance. Even if you're not into games like this, it is one that is, it's one I would suggest. However, I will let you know it is incredibly difficult. If you don't get into games like that and you're going to get mad and not want to play it, just be warned, because there are some very, very hard bosses, especially early on. So if you're the type to play a game and get mad and decide not to play it, I'd wait for a sale just in case, because I'd hate for you to waste $60 on a game that you're not going to play. Overall, though, I loved it. I love this game. If you guys have any questions about it, let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, I have a YouTube playlist that has a buttload of the bosses on it. So be sure to check that out if you're playing, and if you need any help with the game, try to help you out the best I can. Also, like I said, if you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Platinum Review goodness. As always, this has been Chris with Platinum Reviews, and this was Black Myth Wukong. I will catch you on the next video.